Hey guys, and what is up? It's your boy Tise here. Recently, I've been getting into SpongeBob's SquarePants games, so for today's video, I'll be reviewing the only SpongeBob game I've ever played up until just a few weeks ago, SpongeBob's Truth or Square on the Nintendo DS. Also, all of the Truth or Square DS gameplay footage in this review comes from another YouTube channel called KyoakuNaKira. Apologies if I've pronounced the name wrong. This channel specialises in walkthroughs, boss compilations and speedruns of SpongeBob's SquarePants games, so if that sounds like your cup of tea, then I definitely recommend checking it out. There'll be a link to the channel in the description down below. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the review. SpongeBob's Truth or Square DS is a fun little handheld 3D platformer that has a few flaws. Developed by Ultron and released in 2009, SpongeBob's Truth or Square on the Nintendo DS is a side-scrolling 3D platformer where you play as a titular sponge as he relives his happiest memories in order to jog up his memory and remember where he's misplaced the secret Krabby Patty formula in time for the Krusty Krab's 117th anniversary celebration, with the assistance of Plankton and his memory machine which lets SpongeBob relive his past memories in his head. Though Plankton really just wants to nab the secret formula for himself. The game is also a celebration of SpongeBob's 10-year anniversary, and it's also meant to serve as a tie-in with the show's 10-year anniversary special of the same name. Though aside from the Krusty Krab celebrating its 117th anniversary, the game has nothing to do with the special. In Truth or Square DS, you'll make your way through various levels that are based on episodes from early seasons of the SpongeBob SquarePants show, as well as occasionally play minigames that recreate classic moments of the show and also fight big robot bosses. In the game's levels, you'll make your way from point A to point B while collecting coins, doing platforming challenges, using gimmicks and power-ups to overcome obstacles, and brawl with Plankton's many robots that have been inserted into SpongeBob's memories. The levels of Truth or Square DS are fairly linear, though they're often massive in scale, and each level also has plenty of branching paths that lead to switches, power-ups and collectibles. SpongeBob has a pretty simple moveset, with him being able to double jump and perform a few attacks to dish out on enemies, including a spin attack, a slam attack and a projectile attack. And while these are the only 3 attacks SpongeBob has throughout the game, every one of Plankton's robots has a weakness to one of SpongeBob's 3 attacks, which makes the game's simple combat system a bit more satisfying. And by collecting enough coins to fill up a meter on the top DS screen, SpongeBob will become Muscle Bob Buff Pants, and his attacks will deal way more damage to enemies for as long as you can avoid getting hit and falling down bottomless pits. The levels in Truth or Square DS have a few mechanics that you'll frequently be using in order to progress onwards, with these mechanics including soaking up water to then spit back out at certain objects, using bubblegum to cross over large gaps, and floating upwards in bubbles to reach higher areas. Most of these mechanics also make use of the DS's features, like flicking the bottom touchscreen and even blowing into the microphone. So it gets a bit annoying when you have to repeat these mechanics, though it's not too bad and most of the game is played with the DS's physical buttons. As well as those mostly finicky level mechanics, you'll occasionally find character power-ups which let you play as one of SpongeBob's friends such as Patrick and Sandy. Though this ain't no battle for Bikini Bottom, as you'll only get to play as them momentarily just so you can run up to and activate character specific switches, which is a rather lame use for these alternate characters. Every level in Truth or Square DS also has 5 hidden memory fragments for you to find, with them being optional and easy to locate, and collecting all of them in a single level will open up a door to a bonus level where you'll do a challenge like fighting a load of enemies or doing some platforming, and clearing these bonus levels will reward you with objects seen in episodes of the show, though they don't really do anything in the game. Although the levels of Truth or Square DS are fun to play through, they all feel the same in terms of gameplay, and only a few of the levels have their own unique gameplay mechanics to spice things up, and there isn't much in terms of enemy variety either. And although all of the levels are based on episodes of the show, you don't ever feel like you're reliving moments of the show while playing them, which is where the minigames come into play. After every few levels, you'll play a minigame which aims to recreate a classic moment of the show, like Squidward's talent show and the Fry Cook games. These minigames make full use of the DS's bottom touchscreen, though they're actually pretty fun, and unlike the levels, they do a great job of making you feel like you're reliving moments of the show. As well as the main levels and minigames, you'll also fight a boss every once in a while, with you either facing off with a unique plankton robot or a big robot version of one of SpongeBob's friends, much like the main bosses of Battle for Bikini Bottom. These boss fights are pretty simple, with you either needing to strike an obvious weak spot or do some switch flicking before you can deal any real damage, but nevertheless, they're still fun and are the highlight of the game for me. Outside of the main levels, minigames and bosses, you can spend some time in SpongeBob's house and interact with characters and objects, listen to the game's music, view artwork, and spend the coins you've collected in the game's shop. Truth or Square DS also has a multiplayer mode which I assume lets you play the minigames against a friend. Though I can't try out the multiplayer for myself as I only have a single 2DS system, and I can't find any footage or information online about the game's multiplayer mode. In terms of presentation, Truth or Square DS looks great for a fully 3D DS game, with it having nice environments and character models, colourful visuals, and visually varied levels. And what's also impressive is that this all runs at 60 FPS for the most part. The soundtrack is also some good stuff too, with it containing lots of original tracks that fit the vibe of SpongeBob really well, and the boss themes are an absolute bop too. All in all, SpongeBob's Truth or Square on the Nintendo DS is a pretty good 3D platformer. It's got fun platforming levels that have a few issues regarding finicky level mechanics and gameplay repetition, as well as some fun minigames and boss battles, and it also looks and plays great too. If you're a fan of SpongeBob or even a fan of DS games, then I'd recommend checking this one out. So yeah, that was my review of the Nintendo DS version of SpongeBob's Truth or Square, a fun little 3D platformer with only a few issues. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video, I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed watching the video, then I'm glad you enjoyed watching it too. Anyway, I'll see you all later in the next video. Peace out guys.